Professor Rambachan, Dr. Suraj Rambachan, and members of the Saraswati Kirtan Mandali, Sri Jaikar and Kenan, everybody else is just family and friends. Welcome. I want to invite Sri Jaikar and Kenan to do the opening prayer, and then we'll get into the program.
So at this time, I ask all of you, we bow in reverence before that Supreme Being, and we express our love, we express our gratitude. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varde Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Jaikaran. Sitaram, Namaste, Jai Guru Datta, Hari Om, Assalamu Alaikum, good afternoon to all. I'm supposed to just give you a very heartfelt welcome to this evening's proceedings. So on behalf of my wife Shireen, my 3 children, Sharad, Chantal and Arana, my son-in-law Keegan, and my daughter-in-law Shelley, and my one precious grandchild, Kiralee, I wish to extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you present here today. Today is a very special day for me, and everyone here is very special to me and my family. Once you're in this audience today, you are very special to the Lallas. From the invitation, you would have seen that I'm celebrating my 70th birthday. But today is very special for many other reasons. Today is special because, first and foremost, I recognize that God has blessed me with the opportunity to be here to celebrate 10 years of life. And I may add 70 years of very good life. Today is really, therefore, a day of thanksgiving, to thank God for His many blessings. As I celebrate another year of existence, I'm reminded of my purpose and my journey in life. I am grateful, I'm thankful, I'm humbled, and honored to all of the experiences and lessons that I've encountered throughout my life that has made me who I am today. I have achieved some of the most valuable assets in life, which has brought me the greatest joy, but it brought me some rewards that are not measured in material terms. Thank God I enjoy peace, I enjoy contentment, I enjoy happiness and love for myself and others. All of you present here today can refer to many numerous times that I have been in the spotlight, celebrating many successes, many achievements in life. But life also has a way of dealing you some heavy blows, and trust me, I have had my fair share. And that is why we have to constantly remind ourselves that despite the challenges in life, it's how you deal with those challenges, and every time you fall, how quickly you can rise again. And that has been the story of my life. The great Nelson Mandela says, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I have fallen down and get back up again." And I use Mandela's life to remind us that this world honors those who rise, not because they were never knocked down, but because they refuse to stay down. Today is also very special because I've been given this opportunity to express my gratitude to all of you. Because each person here today has had and continues to have a very positive impact on my life in one form or another. So this gathering here comprises blood relatives, extended family members, friends who can easily qualify for family status. I have with us today my Spring Village Mandir group. They're here with us to celebrate. I have my college peers, so we have this group, Presentation College 66ers, those of us who attended Presentation College. And thank God we have a very active WhatsApp group, and I see a couple of my friends here, all of them adding a particular flavor to my life that makes it so enjoyable. I have work colleagues who have been elevated to friends for life. I have my neighbors, I have other members of my community. Today is also very special because I've been given this opportunity to pay tribute to my parents. They are not with us today in body, but they are with us in spirit. And one of the things that they inculcated into us, they've inculcated many values in all of their children. And one of the most important that they kept hammering into us is commitment to family. So today, every one of their 12 children, yeah, that's how big we were, 12 Lallas. Every one of the 12 children is either present here today or represented by the children of our siblings who have passed on. We have not had a gathering of the 12 Lallas for a very long time. So I thank God for this opportunity today that we can all come back together and pay tribute to my parents. I'm sure that where they are, they must be smiling and they must be very happy that we are honoring and keeping their tradition alive. For all of these reasons, I have chosen the theme for today's celebration to be the goodness of God. I have certainly been blessed with the goodness of God throughout my life. God has blessed me in so many ways, and I'm eternally grateful. So today is to express my gratitude to God. And I specifically wanted a particular person to do my satsang, this special satsang. So as soon as the new year started, I made contact and I said, Professor Rambachan, my birthday is 7 months away. Professor Rambachan, on my left here, he's a professor of religion at St. Olaf College in Minnesota, USA, and he has been teaching at that college since 1985. What's interesting is that Professor Rambachan is a Hindu, and he is the first non-Christian chair of the religion department of a Christian school, college. There aren't very many people who could lay claim to that kind of accolade. He is a member of the Theological Education Steering Committee of the American Academy of Religion, the Advisory Council of the Center for Study of Religion and Society, University of Victoria, BC, Canada. He's an advisor to Harvard University's Pluralism Project. He's chair of the board of the Multi-Faith Network, and he's a member with consultation on population and ethics, a non-governmental organization. Professor Rambachan is very involved with interreligious dialogue, something that is very close to my heart, and that is why I hold him in such high regard. And more specifically, Hindu-Christian dialogue. He continues to participate in interreligious activities both nationally and internationally. He's an active member and participant in the dialogue program of the World Council of Churches and participated in the last 4 General Assemblies. I don't know where in the world he hasn't traveled and lectured, but I'll tell you a couple of the places he's traveled. He's lectured in Norway, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, Mauritius, South Africa, Kenya, India, Trinidad, Brazil, the Vatican, Japan, Italy, Spain, Canada, the United Kingdom. And a lot of his lectures are broadcast internationally by the BBC. Another feather in his cap is Professor Rambachan also led the first celebration of Diwali at the White House in the US. He continues to return to Trinidad, the land of his birth, on a yearly basis. And he was also awarded the Chiconia Gold Medal by Trinidad and Tobago's 2nd highest national award. But there are 2 things in my encounters with Anand that stand out a lot. And it's in one of his recent discourses, he made a statement. He said, I am a Hindu, but God is not a Hindu. And if you understand the depth of that statement, you'll begin to understand how broad his perspective on life is. Essentially what he's saying is that God is greater than the greatest and smaller than the smallest. He is present in the hearts of everyone. So when we try to put God in a straitjacket, Professor Rambachan is telling us that's not so. And another very notable encounter I had with Anand in my corporate life was that when I was CEO of the TCL group, I told him I have this belief that business could have ethics in it. And I asked him to design a program that's entitled Ethics in Business. Because I genuinely believe that you can be successful in business and still be ethical. Unfortunately, I raised it because I was the director of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange and I wanted it to take on a national perspective. Unfortunately, it didn't get very far because many of the other decision makers didn't think that there was a correlation between ethics and business. So I'm very honored to hand over today's proceedings to Professor Rambachan, who will guide us through the next several minutes. And before he comes on, the Saraswati Kirtan Mandali will render one additional bhajan for us.
So in keeping with your choice of the theme for this evening, Sharma, we have chosen this bhajan to share. It says as follows: I have given you, O God, all the burdens of my life. I place these in your hands. Victory and failure is in your hands. I surrender all the strains of my life also into your hands. जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में है। जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में है, यार तुम्हारे हाथों में, और हार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इसे जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। मेरा निश्चय बस एक यहीं, एक बार तुम्हें पा जाऊं मैं। मेरा निश्चय बस एक यहीं, एक बार तुम्हें पा जाऊं मैं। अर्पण कर ढूंढ जगत की भर का सब प्यार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब प्यार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। या तो मैं जग से दूर रहूं और जग में रहूं तो ऐसे रहूं। या तो मैं जग से दूर रहूं और जग में रहूं तो ऐसे रहूं। मुझ पूजक एक एक रग रग का उतार तुम्हारे हाथों में, उतार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इसे जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। जब जब संसार का बंदी बनो, दरबार तेरे में आओ मैं। जब संसार का बंदी बनूं, दरबार तेरे में आओ मैं, तब हो पापों का निर्णय। सरकार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सरकार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इसे जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। मुझ में तुझ में है फिर यही, मैं नर हो तो नारायण है। मुझ में तुझ में है फिर यही, मैं नर हूँ तो नारायण हो। मैं हूँ संसार के हाथों में, संसार तुम्हारे हाथों में, संसार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इसे जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर, गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं, देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। Dear sisters and brothers, honored guests, members of the immediate and extended family of Sharma, Lalla and his wife, I want to say how happy and honored I am to be with all of you this evening. And thank you, Sharma, for your generous and kind words of introduction. We are here to celebrate this milestone in his life and to offer our prayers and our hopes for his health and his happiness and continuing well-being. As Sharma said, he contacted me just after the New Year about his special wish to bring all of you together for this joyful event, and at the same time for me to be here and to offer this religious discourse. And for that I am happy and grateful. As you know, we speak of this event as a Satsang. In this case, it's his birthday Satsang. And a Satsang is a gathering of the good. So you are here because you are the sources of goodness. and support in his life. And this is, as he said so beautifully, this is his way of expressing his gratitude and his joy for the gift of your goodness in his life's journey. But as he also said, there is another source of goodness that he wants to acknowledge on this occasion. And in our discussion about this satsang, he wanted the focus to be on the celebration of the goodness of God, so beautifully rendered in the words of the song that we listened. This is a goodness, as Sharma said, that he experiences in his journey of life. And when he told me this, I found it very helpful to have him choose the theme, since it guided and inspired me in preparation of the words that I want to share with you this evening. One of the great teachers of India, Kabir Das, has a profound four-line composition. In Hindi we speak of this as a doha, a four-line composition, in which he said, Dukh mein simran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. जो सुख में सिमरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. दुख में सिमरन सब करे. That in times of anguish and pain, we all seek God, we turn to God. Sukha mein kare na koi, but we rarely do so in times of joy. Jo sukh mein simran kare, but the one who remembers the divine in joy and in suffering truly remembers God. And so today, we are not seeking anything. We are celebrating. It's wonderful, Sharma, to hear you say, because it's such a rare thing, to hear you describe your life and to say that you are at a point where you are at peace. You are in a condition of contentment with self and the world. And that's a very beautiful place to be in life, a very rare space to be. So we are celebrating goodness this evening, the goodness of human beings and the goodness of God. And I want to show you how these two are connected. So my discourse this evening is structured around 4 questions. So I want you to keep these 4 questions in mind. The first is, what does the goodness of God mean? Secondly, how do we experience God's goodness? Thirdly, what are our obligations, our human obligations, in the face of receiving and experiencing God's goodness? And finally, what is the ultimate aim of our lives? The ultimate aim of God's goodness in our lives. So these are the 4 themes of my discourse, and I would like you to follow as I go along. So the first question, what does the goodness of God mean? What do we mean when we speak of God's goodness? It's interesting, as I was thinking about the theme, and I thought, well, if I took out one O from good, I get God. And that was interesting. Now, there are words in our language, active words, that describe the actions of God in relation to us, in relation to the universe. So we can speak of God, and we speak of God with active words like, God is creator, God is sustainer, God is the absorber of everything, God is the giver of the fruits of our actions. But these words don't tell us much about the nature of God. It tells us what God
does. So, for example, you might describe your mother as a teacher or a doctor, and you might say, but my mother is also a great cook, and my mother is an excellent gardener. Look at the beautiful flower garden that she has. So again we are saying what your mother does. But there's a different question. What kind of person is your mother? What kind of being is she? And so we need different kinds of words to tell us who God is. Tell us something about God's nature. So let us think about it. It's an interesting question. What do we mean if we describe another human being as good? I often wonder if across societies, across nations, there might be some consensus on what a good human being is. Would it be a wealthy person? Would it be a powerful person? Would it be a famous person? Perhaps not. And I hope not, that when we think of goodness, we don't think of wealth, we don't think of power, we don't think of fame. I hope that we will think of love. We associate goodness with love. We will not associate goodness with hate for others. A good person is one who empathizes in heart with others. We would not think of goodness as an attitude of uncaring and indifference to others. We will think of goodness as generosity, as a willingness to share and to give and to lift others. We will not think of goodness as selfishness or self-centeredness. Some may associate goodness with forgiveness and not revenge-seeking, with humility and not arrogance, with a love for truth and not untruth. And I think that when we think of God's goodness, it is not very different from what we will think of goodness in a human being. But of course, there are differences. Since God is infinite, the virtues that we associate with God are also infinite. So God's goodness has no limits. It is as infinite as God. When we think of God as a merciful being or as a loving being, there are no limits to God's love and God's mercy. And of course, it never comes to an end. It embraces all. It was, it is, it will be. So, to know that God is a being of goodness is to know that the one from whom we have all come, the one by whom we are all sustained, the one to whom we will all return, is a being of infinite love and compassion. In this infinite ocean of love and goodness and compassion, we exist. We live. It's a powerful truth. Nothing can separate us from this ocean of love and compassion. And if we feel separated, it's only because of our own ignorance. Nothing can separate us from this ocean of goodness. Not illness, not loss, not disappointment. And Sharma describes his experiences, but at the same time, with a profound experience of God's goodness. Disappointment, failure, must not separate us from the knowledge that we live in this ocean of goodness. Because to think that anything could separate us from God's goodness is to grant extraordinary power to something else. Sometimes we speak that as Hindus, that the law of karma is inexorable. It is unalterable, it cannot be changed. But this is not entirely true. Because if that were true, then karma would be God. Karma is indeed the moral law of the universe, but who is the lawgiver? The lawgiver is the merciful, infinitely good God, and the lawgiver is higher than the law. God's compassion, we must always remember, is higher than karma. Higher than karma. We must not grant anything the status of being higher than God. There is nothing higher than God's goodness, God's love, God's compassion. So that is the first theme. Second question, if God is indeed, as all of our religious traditions describe God, an infinite ocean of goodness, of love, of compassion, my second question is, how do we experience this goodness? How do we come to know this goodness? How does this goodness appear in our own lives? How does it enter into our lives? How do we experience it? And to answer that question, I turn to one verse from one of our sacred texts, the Ramayana, in this case, the version of the Ramayana authored by Tulsidas in the 16th century. And he addresses this question that I'm asking. How do we experience the goodness of God? राम सिंधु घन सज्जन धीरा चंदन तरु हरि संत समीरा राम सिंधु घन सज्जन धीरा चंदन तरु हरि संत समीरा सब कर फल हरि भगत सुहाई सब कर फल हरि भगत सुहाई सो बिनु संतन काहू पाई श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. He uses two extraordinarily beautiful metaphors to speak about how we encounter the goodness of God in our lives. And these are metaphors that speak across religious traditions. They are not Hindu metaphors. They speak to us as human beings. So I want you to think with me about these two metaphors of Tulsidas. When he says Ram, you must always translate God. Ram Sindhu. God is the ocean. Sindhu, the ocean. God is the ocean. Ram Sindhu Ghana Sajjana Dhira. And the clouds, Ghana, are virtuous and good human beings. Ram Sindhu Ghana Sajjana Dhira. Ram is the ocean, and good people whose hearts are full of goodness and virtue are the clouds. So think of this. Let's think of his example. The ocean is a very powerful metaphor for God. Those of us who have grown up on islands like Trinidad, when we We love to go to the ocean because the ocean fills us with a sense of wonder, a sense of awe, a sense of mystery when we stand on the shore. Because like God, who is the source of all life, of all that exists, the ocean is the source of our life-giving water. It's deep, it's unfathomable. We can't see its beginning, we can't see its end. And we do so, we stand before it with a sense of humility. And it is the ocean, it's the water of the ocean in the form of rain that nourishes the earth, sustains life in all of its forms. There is no life in the absence of water. In fact, without water, our bodies are nothing but dust. Now, in using this example, God is the ocean. People who are good are the clouds. Tulsidas, writing in the 15th century, shows that he understood something about weather phenomena. Over 96% of the total global water is in the ocean. So let's start there. Energy from the sun causes the water on the surface to evaporate into water vapor, which is a gas. And the invisible vapor rises into the atmosphere where the air is cooler, and then it condenses into clouds. And air currents move these clouds across the earth and bring us the ocean in the form of rain. We do not experience the blessings of the ocean without the instrumentality of the clouds. It's the clouds that make the ocean accessible and present to us, to our fields, our wells, our lakes. So we can say that the clouds are the instruments of the ocean. So in a similar way, good persons, virtuous persons are the instruments through whom we experience the reality and the blessings of God's goodness in our lives. Like clouds absorbing water from the ocean, releasing it on earth, good people draw deep from God's goodness, from God's compassion, God's karuna, God's daya, and bring this compassion, this love, this goodness into our lives. So we experience the goodness of God through good people, virtuous people. Rama Sindhu Ghana Sajjana Dhira. And his next metaphor, Chandana Taru Hari Sant Samira. God is the sandal tree. Good people are like the winds, the wind. So the sandal tree gives this very beautiful fragrance that we all love. But it is the wind that brings this fragrance to us and spreads its attractive odor everywhere. It is the wind that transports the molecules that enable us to smell anything. In the absence of clouds and of the wind, we may not receive the waters that bless our lives or the beautiful fragrance of the sandal. There are so many important insights in these two metaphors of Tulsidas. One is, when think about it, a cloud never retains the water for its own use. It brings it from the ocean and releases it to bless the earth, nourishing all life. And it is not selective when it pours forth its water. When a cloud releases its water, it doesn't release it only to those who are virtuous. It releases its water, gives generously to all, like the sun that shines. And when the wind brings a beautiful fragrance to us, it is not selective. That fragrance, it spreads generously to all. So these elements don't discriminate. They give generously to all. And in a similar way, good people, virtuous people, who are the instruments of God's goodness, share and spread goodness everywhere. Like the rain or the wind, they don't discriminate. Secondly, if you think about it, clouds and the wind are active. He uses very active elements. They move. They move far from their point of origin. Goodness is an active thing. Our religious lives cannot be confined to the walls of our temples or the walls of our homes or particular institutions. These may be the starting point, the point of origin, but not the end. Goodness is measured by its active nature, not by the limits or walls around it. So we need to look beyond the walls of our temples and of our homes if we want to become instruments of goodness in the world. Why does Tulsidas use this example? I think it helps us to understand and to answer the question that I asked: how do we experience God's goodness? As religious persons, we all pray for the blessings of God in our lives, the blessings for those we love. And we often think of God's blessings as something intangible, perhaps even mysterious, invisible. Often find it very, very difficult sometimes to know whether God is responding to us. You may even think that God's blessings only come in miraculous ways that run against the laws of nature. But I think what is beautiful about his examples is that they remind us that God's goodness enters into our lives through the instrumentality of good people. They are God's instruments of goodness. Through them, goodness is poured into our lives. And if we don't understand this, we may actually miss the many moments, the many ways in which we experience divine goodness. Some years ago, and I was speaking to Jaikaranji recently, he mentioned the COVID pandemic. So some years ago, when the COVID pandemic swept across our world, many of us were asking, where is God's goodness in this pandemic? Where do we find God? Where is God present in this pandemic? And we have to know where to look. God was present. God's goodness was manifest. If only we had the eyes to see. God's goodness was active in the resolute and heroic, the vulnerable work of healthcare providers who risk their lives every day to save lives and to comfort those who were lonely. God was present, God's goodness was present in ambulance drivers racing across roads and cities, and in emergency medical technicians who were the first responders to those who fell ill. God was active in the work of all of the researchers who tirelessly left no stone unturned to find vaccines and curative therapies. The servant of God in this pandemic was anyone who acted with compassion to help and to save others. So if we know how to look, God's goodness is always present in our lives. There is this story, perhaps you have heard many versions of this story that I'm about to tell you. But it's the story of a man who was sitting in his home one day when he heard a loud explosion. He saw people running in panic from their homes and discovered that a river had broken its banks and was flooding his town, and people were being evacuated. And he noticed the waters rising on the streets, felt a sense of panic, but decided that he will stay in his home and he will trust God to protect him. And as the water reached his window, a boat full of his fellow citizens came by and asked him, "Come with us, jump in." No. I trust in the goodness of God to save me. And the water continued to rise and moved to the top floor of his house. And he moved to the roof. And another boatload of people evacuating came and saw him and asked them, "Please come down and join us." And again he said, No. I am a man of faith. God will save me. And the water continued to rise. Those who evacuated told the fire services that there was a man on the roof. Please go and find him. And they came on a motorboat to rescue him. No, God will save me. I trust in God. You probably know the rest of the story. The water rose and he drowned. He came before God and complained noisily. "I trusted you. I trusted your goodness. Why did you not save me? Why did you do nothing?" And God said, "I sent 3 boats to you. And you turned them all away." So he was looking for some miraculous way of being saved, not realizing that these good people who kept calling on him to come into the boat were themselves expressions of God's love and goodness. All that I have said does not exclude God's direct intervention in our lives, but to me it seems, from all of that I've studied and read and learned, that God's favored way of intervening with His goodness in our lives is through good people. God is humble, loves the background, and works through the virtuous, the good. Third question, and then one more question. Third question, as I reminded you, is what are our own obligations? Having experienced the goodness of God in our lives, what are our own obligations? I think the answer is very simple. Like the clouds and the ocean, the wind and the sandal tree, we express gratitude for God's goodness in our lives by becoming ourselves instruments of goodness in others' lives. Listen to me carefully. Each one of us was created to be and to become a unique instrument of God's goodness. God did not create us. God is not an arrogant, self-centered being who created us to praise Him and to only adore Him. God created us to be instruments of His goodness in this world. And each one of us was created to be a unique expression of that goodness. As I said earlier, divine goodness is infinite, and it can have infinite expressions, and each one can become a unique expression of God's goodness. So the question for us is, what is my own unique way of expressing God's goodness in the world? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna, the teacher, the divine teacher, says to Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhavasabhya sarchin. Arjuna, become my instrument. I want you to be my instrument in the world. Nimitta matram. Become my instrument in the world. One of the finest examples of what it means to be an instrument of God's goodness in the world is the person that we all know. It's beautiful with the pigeons. They are divine presence in our satsang this evening. Also part of God's goodness, the birds in the air. Sri Hanumanji. If you want to understand what it means to be an instrument of God's goodness, he becomes the model of it. Today, I witness a lot of focus on his physical strength and his might, but not enough on his role as the instrument of God's goodness. We must always remember that Hanuman is not a substitute for God. He always self-described as God's instrument, as God's servant, and never attributed any accomplishment to himself. And the word we use for him is Ramadut, Ramaduta. Very first verse of Hanuman Chalisa, Ramaduta. We often translate Duta as a messenger, but actually Duta is much more than a messenger. Duta is a representative. Someone who brings the mail to you is a messenger. But a representative is different from a messenger. A representative represents someone to you. So if you are, in the case of Hanumanji as God's Duta, God's representative, he had to present God to others. And he did that by being the instrument of God's goodness. He brought comfort and solace to Sita. He reassured her of God's love, of Ram's love. He brought comforting news to Bharat of Ram's impending return. And Bharat said to him, "Now that I have seen you, my sorrows have disappeared, because in you I have seen Sri Ram. I have met my beloved God." So Sri Krishna's invitation to Arjuna to be his instrument, and Ram entrusting Hanuman to be his representative, his Duta, is in fact God's invitation to every one of us. Be my instrument, be my representative, be the source of goodness to others. This is our part. This is our way to fulfillment. And when we look at, if we take the example of the Ramayana, from which I have taken these two metaphors, this is so clear to us. This partnership between God and human beings. Ram seeks the help of a boatman to take him across the Ganges. He seeks advice from Valmiki about how to build and where to build a house. He seeks the help of Sugriva to find Sita. Hanuman is his instrument to bring comfort to Sita. He seeks help to build a bridge. He's always seeking this partnership with human beings to become his instruments. The divine can fulfill anything, but this is a beautiful invitation to us to be his instruments of goodness in the world. So God's purposes in the world are accomplished through goodness, good people, and partnership with the virtuous. There is a very profound verse in the Bhagavad Gita from the 13th chapter where God is described Sarvataf Pani Padam Tat as the one with feet and hands everywhere, with heads and mouths everywhere. Now there are many ways in which one can read the meaning of this verse. But I like to read this verse as saying that our hands are God's hands, our feet are God's feet. Our vocal organs, our mouths are God's instruments of speaking. But we come to appreciate that only when we see ourselves as instruments of God's goodness in the world. God's hands are not just Hindu hands. They are Christian hands. They are Muslim hands. They are Jewish hands. They are not brown hands. They are black hands. They are white hands. All hands were created to be God's hands. And when we engage in these acts of goodness, our hands become the instruments of prayer. We pray with our hands when our hands are generous. When we walk to help another, our feet, we are praying with our feet. All of these become instruments of goodness. And now my final question to conclude. So you remember the first three questions, right? What does God's goodness mean? How do we experience God's goodness? What are our obligations after experiencing God's goodness to become instruments of goodness? And last question, and I'll be brief on this one. What does it mean to partner with God? What does it mean to be a partner, to be an instrument of God's goodness? Where does it all lead? Where does it all end? And I think in this, the Ramayana gives us a vision of it. Ram's return to Ayodhya is not the end of the Ramayana. The end of the Ramayana is Ram Rajya, the kingdom of God, the building of what he calls Ram Rajya, the kingdom of God. It is not a Hindu kingdom, it is a human kingdom. And what is it? What is its nature? It's a kingdom that is free of hate, that is free of poverty, that is free of illiteracy and disease. It is a kingdom in which human beings are virtuous and devote themselves to each other's well-being. It's a kingdom in which nature flourishes and it's fruitful. It's an inclusive community of love and justice, where we strive together to overcome suffering and to build this, what Martin Luther King spoke of as the beloved community, the community of God, and we speak of it as Ram Raj. And so we become God's hands and God's feet when we work to build this community in partnership with the divine. It does not come miraculously. It comes through discovering the divine goodness and expressing that goodness in relationships with each other. So with these words, I want to conclude and to express again my gratitude, Sharma, for the honor of bringing this message to your family and to your friends and to all of your honored guests, and to express my heartfelt prayer and wish for a long life of goodness as you know it, and the continuing pouring forth of God's goodness in everything that you do and in every member of your family. You have chosen this theme, and I think that there would be no greater blessing than that this goodness continues to be poured in your life and overflow from your life into the lives of your family and your community and all who come into contact with you. So thank you, my dear brothers and sisters, for being an attentive listening audience tonight. Remember the four points. What is the nature of goodness? How do we encounter goodness? What are our obligations? And where are we going? The creation of communities of love and justice, where no one is marginalized, no one is ostracized, but everyone is embraced in divine love and goodness.
Even though the river is filled to capacity, it never consumes its own water. The tree never partakes of the fruits it bears. Whoever offers his body, mind, and wealth in service for the benefit of others, such a person is verily God on earth. The incense burns and gives to the world its sweet fragrance. The lamp sheds its light to others. So too, the life of the righteous individual is like a lamp that sheds its rays to all. It is his dharma, his duty, to serve the scriptures and to serve mankind as he journeys through life. And whether one glorifies him or ill-speaks him, whether he is welcomed with flowers or encounters thorns along the pathway, it makes no difference to him. For to him, both honor and dishonor are the same. नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। अपना तन का, मन का, धन का दूजों को दे जो दान है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। अपना तन का, मन का, धन का दूजों को दे जो दान है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। अगर सजिश का अंग जले और दुनिया को मीठी श्वास दे, दीपक सा उसका जीवन है जो दूजों को अपना प्रकाश दे, दूजों को अपना प्रकाश दे। हर जिसका भगवत गीता जिसका भगवत गीता सेवा ही वेद पुराण है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। अपना तन का, मन का, धन का दूजों को दे जो दान है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियाँ न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। जाए कोई, कांधे चुभ हो जाए कोई। मान और अपमान ही दोनों मान और अपमान ही दोनों जिसके लिए समान है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे, इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियन पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल। अपना तन का मन का धन का दूजों को दे जो दान है, वो सच्चा इंसान रे, इस धरती का भगवान है। नदियन पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपने फल।
Thank you, Suraj. I wouldn't attempt to praise Anand's discourse. I think he told you what the 4 questions were at the beginning, and then he reiterated them at the end. But it really ties in so beautifully to my theme that I thank you from the bottom of my heart. As I celebrate my 70th year of existence, it would be remiss of me if I don't acknowledge the contribution of some very, very special people. So I want to invite my wife to join me on. There's a saying that happiness is being married to someone who's not just your partner, but your safe place, your smile in the chaos, your strength when you need it the most, and above all, the absolute love of your life. And I don't know whether they wrote that for me, but that is my definition of who my wife is. And they say, happy is the man who finds a true friend, and far happier is he who finds that true friend in his wife. She's the mother of our 3 children. She has had and continues to have the most profound impact on my life. She's my partner, my confidant, and like the Rock of Gibraltar, she's been with me as we celebrated many highs throughout our life, and helped me to navigate the lows. My wife has been the greatest blessing that I have received. And I will remain eternally humbled that I was blessed enough to be with her. My 50 years together. When Anand spoke about how God expresses himself, he does so through people. He uses people as instruments. And there's a saying that family is not only about blood, it's about who is willing to hold your hand when you need it the most. I want to ask Nandi and Suraj to join me. This couple, and it's interesting that we weren't friends, but at one of my lowest points in my life, it's Suraj and Nandi who opened their hearts and their home to me and my wife when we were certainly at the lowest point. I don't know how you thank someone for being that rock, but I will give you a hug. And my wife will, I need a hug too. These two people were my rock when I was at my lowest. The depths of it sometimes even my blood family don't know. But Nandi and Suraj opened their home and their hearts to me and my wife. And they gave me the strength to rally through. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Geeta, I would like you to join us on stage. You know, we recently celebrated Guru Purnima. And in very many ways, Anand is like my guru. His philosophy about life, his outlook on life, his perspective on religion is something that resonates so strongly with me. So Anand, I want to thank you through Geeta by presenting her. She's your instrument. And there's a third person I want to publicly acknowledge. And I ask Sri Jaikaran and Janki to join me on stage. You know, when you operate in the corporate world, you see life through a very narrow lens. In that you focus and you measure life by what is the next promotion you got, what is the size of the house that you have now, are you driving a Beamers or Mercedes? Those are the traditional kinds of markers that you use in your life when you're young and you growing up. And I credit Jaikaran and Janki for playing a very significant role in my life. And I give him credit for the development of my spirituality. And it was a moment in time when I was a business executive. He was head of the Spring Village Mandir. And he would always encourage me, come and do a discourse. And in preparing that discourse, you are learning. I will draw on the writings that Suraj had done. Suraj would share his thing with me. The books that Anand had wrote. But in doing that, my own spirituality began to develop and I began to see life. And because of my corporate experience, I was able to translate what's written in our holy text to real life. And that was particularly appealing to the young people in our mandir. So I credit Jaikaran and Janki for contributing to my spiritual development and really teaching me how to appreciate the essence of Hinduism. I thank you both very sincerely for that. And my final presentation is to someone I met quite recently, but who astounded me with her humility, and her magnanimous attitude. I ask Miss Sita Maharaj of the Dattatreya temple to join me, please. I have found in Miss Maharaj the embodiment of service and humility. And I will tell you just a quick two-liner on her. I was with her making the arrangements for this satsang. And she got a phone call, and the person obviously was asking her, "Are you the person in charge?" And she is in charge, eh? But you know what her response was? "I am just a servant." And that meant a lot to me, that she could classify herself as a servant and not the person in charge. We all love to be people in charge. And she said, "No, I am just a servant." And the second thing that really appealed to me in Miss Maharaj was when I told her I wanted to play a Christian gospel song in the mandir because I thought it was my duty to get permission. And she looked at me immediately and said, "This hall is universal. This is not a Hindu hall." And that tied in exactly with my philosophy about life. So whereas in some instances we worry about who is this kind of Hindu and that kind of Hindu, Miss Maharaj told me, this hall is universal. And she helped me every step of the way. So the token of my appreciation, Miss Maharaj, I'd like to present. Thank you very much. Yeah. Great. Yes, so I will hand over to Suraj to do another bhajan, and then we'll just have a couple small items, including a presentation by my precious grandchild.
जय गणेश गणनाथ दयानिधि सकल विघ्न कर दूर हमारे मम वंदन स्वीकार करो प्रभु चरण शरण हम आए तुम्हारे जय गणेश गणनाथ दयानिधि जय नंद लाला जय गोपाला जय नंद लाला जय जय श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंद लाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है जय नंद लाला जय गोपाला जय नंद लाला जय मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए वृंदावन की कुंज गलिर में सबको नाच नचाए ओह सबको नाच नचाए श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है, गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है। गिरधर नागर कहते मीरा, सूर को श्यामल भाया, सूल को श्यामल भाया। गिरधर नागर कहते मीरा, सूर को श्यामल भाया, सूर को श्यामल भाया। तुकाराम और नामदेव में विठल विठल गाया, ओह विठल विठल गाया। श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है, गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है। श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है। राधा शक्ति बिना न कोई श्यामल दर्शन पावे, श्यामल दर्शन पावे। राधा शक्ति बिना न कोई श्यामल दर्शन पावे, श्यामल दर्शन पावे। आराधन कर राधे राधे कान्हा भागे आवे, ओह कान्हा भागे आवे। श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है, श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है, गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है। श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजले हरि का प्यारा नाम है। जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला, जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला, जय नंदलाला जय जय।
Thank you, Suraj. There are some people who think that I have done good things in my life too, and they wanted to say there are two words, so I had to make space on the program for just a couple of people, and I want to invite our MP Rudy Ndao Singh, who has known me for quite a long time, to say a few words. He's a man I still hold in the highest esteem, and I still think that he's the best member of parliament that Cooper South has.
Thank you very much, Sharma. Sitaram, namaste. A pleasant good evening to all. Our VS for today's Satsang, Professor Dr. Anand Rambachan and his Dharampatni, and of course the Saraswati Kirtan Mandali, led by Dr. Surjratan Rambachan and his Dharampatni, who is also present here this evening. Sri Jaikaran Kenan of Chinmaya Mission, Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Sharma Lalla and Mrs. Lalla and members of the Lalla family, immediate and extended, and all who have assembled here this evening to pay their respects to Sharma on this very significant and landmark occasion in his journey of life. The man who I would have known before he came to Karini 1975 Limited as the Chief Executive Officer in 1999, if my memory serves me right. And at that point in time, and Sharma, I don't know if it is by divine intervention, but you know, today you are celebrating your birthday, and the former Secretary General or General Secretary of the All Trinidad Sugar and General Workers Trade Union. Some of you may recollect, but he made a contribution, a man by the name of Sam Maharaj. He today is also celebrating his birthday. He's not in the best of health. I attempted to communicate with him. He did not answer, but I am sure that before the day ends, I will certainly try to communicate with him. And we knew of your commitment and your work at the TCL group and in your capacity. And you had to deal with the Oilfield Workers Trade Union out there. And coming to deal with the All Trinidad Sugar and General Workers Trade Union, I see Neil Kusun in the audience smiling very broadly. And he was an employee of Caroni. And because at that time I was the General Secretary, I was younger, and my hair was black, I was more what we would call vibrant at that time. And I really enjoyed your intervention and your input into Caroni at that time and the sugar industry. And the sugar industry in terms of what you attempted to do in relation to restructuring, turning it around, dealing with new culture systems and so on. And sometimes that having closed since 2003, sometimes we do not understand and we do not really value the commitments of all the stakeholders that were involved in the sugar industry. And all of us, in some way or form or fashion, are indeed children of the sugar industry. We are descendants. We share a common bond. We share a common journey. And that, for me, is something that you added value to. I have met your wife, Shireen, over the years. And also, I could remember you in the context of also making your mark not only at TCL and Caroni and Swim Call, but also at Caroni Green. And when there was a heavy talk about diversification of the economy of the country, I do not know for what reason and what rationale was used to close down a viable entity as Caroni Green that was contributing to the economic returns or the financial fortunes of our country. But you have said today that indeed you have found peace, you have found contentment, and the theme of this evening's discourse, the greatness or goodness of Almighty God. And indeed, you have been an instrument of the goodness of Almighty God to members of your family, and also all the organizations that you have been affiliated with. And if it is something I'd want to leave you with, because I could remember you being integrally involved at the Spring Village Mandir in Balmain, and using your talent, that sense of goodness of God that you was blessed with, to network and to find avenues to uplift children from an educational point of view that may not have had all the wherewithal and the direction that was needed. And I observed that you was part of celebrating scholarship and achievement at the Spring Village Mandir. And these are the things that we must, when we come and we listen to satsangs and discourses, and we accumulate our years of experience, and we say that we are indeed contented and we are peaceful in life, we must continue to grow as human beings, because just as we have grown, there are those who need us in terms of our direction to grow and to achieve peace and contentment in life. So today, my wife is here with me, Arlene, and you did in your note send to me that you would remind her to be here also. Build your community at Balmain, and by extension, build yourself as a human being. Shubh Janamdin, Sitaram, and continued blessings in your life.
For the younger people, I don't want to bore you with an ex-old man coming on. A true friend who encouraged me to join the Rotary Club of Trinidad and Tobago. And as I said, we have a very active WhatsApp group. I now invite Gupta Supasad, who wants to say something on behalf of the schoolboys.
Thank you, Sharma. Namaste, Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. It's very difficult to come to speak after a politician, and a most competent one who could speak without any paper. But I'll try. Professor Anand Rambachan, Dr. Suraj Rambachan, members of the Saraswati Kirtan Mandali, Sharma, Lalla and his lovely wife Shireen, and lovely children and grandchild, all the family and friends of Sharma and Shireen. It is a great honor and pleasure to say a few words on this special occasion of our friend's 70th upcoming birthday. I am speaking on behalf of our class of 1966, the year we all entered Presentation College, 1966. That's why we are called the 66ers. Presentation College, still the best boys' schools in Trinidad and Tobago. Not like NAP something, eh? Okay. We met in 1966, some 59 years ago. That is a very long time to maintain a friendship. Actually, I would have known about Sharma Lalla long before I met him. In the 1960s, I used to be a scoring for a cricket team called Central East Indians, that eventually became Central Indians, that then changed to Central Sports. I couldn't play for them, but I used to score. And the captain was one person named Motilal Krishna Rajbali, better known as Cokes. Cokes, his name had nothing to do with the popular drink, but with the configuration of his eyes. He was a very well-known, likable, and popular gentleman around Chaguanas and also around Orange Valley, as he taught at Orange Valley Government School. When common entrance results came out, Cokes came to me, who was also a teacher of mine as well in lessons. And I told him I was so proud I was placed at Presentation College. And he said, "You think you bright? Wait till you meet a fella named Sharma Lalla from Orange Valley coming Presentation." And lo and behold, a man bright for days, brighter than a 500-watt fluorescent bulb. Before we leave, I want him to explain to me why, after 71 years, we still don't know why we were taught binomial theorem and how to use it and why it's important. Anyhow, as a class, we meet a few times for the year, sometimes with our wives who would calm us down, and at other times without them. Both occasions are great ones with different vibes. We would just sit and talk about old times and events in the past and new events. And it's always, when we are having a get-together, on the chat, I would say we're having a get-together, and the guys would say, "Sharma come in?" We say, "Yes." They say, "Okay, they're not coming." Or Shazim come in? "Yes, they're not coming." Because Sharma will give us so many stories about his jobs, all his jobs in TCL and Swim Call and Caroni, and we would just sit down and marvel at them. So we have a class chat, as Sharma indicated, and we keep in contact with each other. Some of the guys write a lot about where they go, what they eat, what they drink, and plenty old people joke. So anyhow, I just want to share with you some words from the chat about Sharma's upcoming birthday. Wayne Rajaram said, "I describe Sharma as the man with the trademark smile. Every photo I pulled from Google search, he was smiling. Wayne said the Bible in Proverbs 27:19 says, "The face mirrors the heart." Sharma's face reflects peace and contentment, a wonderful state of mind to be as we grow older. Best wishes on your 70th birthday, Sharma, from Wayne. Mauzam Sadiq, who is sitting there in the back, his closest friend in school and partner in crime, and he and Sharma would organize to make sure they meet that particular someone who is now Sharma's wife. They would leave Shawana's, take taxi and go Kuva and wait to see some Kuva sect children. And so Mauzam sent a song by Alan Jackson. And the song goes, "The older I get, the more I think. You only get a minute. Better live it while you're in it, because it's gone in a blink." This is most appropriate for all of us, especially since we reached 70. I am 71. Sharma was the youngest and still the youngest. We call Shari the baby in the class. He's now going to be 70. Some of us 71 already. So he's still the baby of the group. So the following boys, well, we say boys, send greetings. Rajan Bhagwat, who is also here with us. Stanley Lalta, Lionel Siram, Shazem Ali, Kenneth Mose, Lincoln Jailal, Dev Sant, Abu Hassan Mohammed, and Indrajit Mundisa. The guys send their best wishes on this important milestone. A lot of them are abroad, and some of them are in Tobago, and some of them can't make it because, as we get older, we have challenges. On behalf of my wife, Madhuri, and my whole family, we would all like to wish Sharma a most wonderful birthday and hope that you and we all live to see many more birthdays and enjoy our class get-togethers, especially the upcoming one in Tobago.
Thank you, Gupta. And as I had warned you all, I cannot have a program without my granddaughter. So I now invite Kerali Maraj. I'm not sure exactly what she's going to do, but I think it's some tribute to her grandfather.
Namaste to Grandpa on your 70th birthday. 70 years of wisdom and grace, a lifetime of love we can never replace. With hands that have guided strong and true, and a heart full of kindness in all that you do. You've taught us to laugh, to work and to pray, to cherish each moment, come what may. Through stories you've told and lessons you've shared, you've shown us how deeply you've loved and you've cared. Your smile lights up a room. Your words bring peace. With you in our lives, joy will never cease. A rock in the storm, a calm in the tide, a hero to follow with arms open wide. Today we celebrate the man you are, your guiding light, your shining star. Happy 70th, Grandpa, with love so sincere, you've made every moment a treasure year after year.
Thank you, Gupta. I think we coming to the end of it, but I think my big daughter wants to tell you all how much she loves her father. I invite Chantal to the end.
Namaste everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, good evening to all. Today we gather to celebrate a truly remarkable man, my dad, as he reaches the incredible milestone of 70 years. It's a momentous occasion that calls for reflection, gratitude, and admiration for the journey he has undertaken and the legacy he has created. I'm not usually a person lost for words, but trying to capture the multitude of remarkable characteristics of my dad in a single speech has proven to be quite challenging, and a lot of it has been said already. Through his many life's accomplishments that we've all heard about this evening, he has also always wanted me to achieve greatness in my life as well. His unwavering belief in my potential has been a constant source of motivation and inspiration. I remember the countless times he encouraged me to pursue my dreams, no matter how challenging they seemed. You stood by me through every stage to help me achieve my goals. And I still vividly remember this Sunday evening sitting in the study with him helping me craft my common entrance essays, all the way through to university, and thereafter, waiting outside the exam hall by the pond for me to complete my final exams. I still remember that day vividly, along with my mother. Your own journey, marked by resilience and determination, has shown me that with hard work and perseverance, anything is possible. Dad, your steadfast dedication to supporting our family has always been a cornerstone of our lives. Throughout the years, you have always been there, offering a steady hand and a compassionate heart whenever we faced challenges. Your resilience and determination again have shown us that no obstacle is insurmountable when we stand together as a family, whether it was through personal challenges or moments of uncertainty. You have stood by our side and carried us. Your unwavering commitment to our family is a gift that we cherish every day. Life hasn't always been easy, and you've been through trials that would have broken many. Yet you faced each challenge with courage and resilience, showing us what it means to persevere. Through it all, you have always trusted in God and kept Him close, even on your 70th birthday, to choose this route, finding solace and guidance in your faith. Your unwavering belief has not only been a source of strength, but has also inspired those around you to keep faith in their own journeys. You have taught our family to put God first, and this has been a guiding principle that has helped us to navigate through life's ups and downs with grace and confidence. Your ability to overcome adversity and emerge stronger is a testament to your character and strength. One of the greatest joys for me in life is hearing about others speak about the positive impact my dad has had on their lives. It fills me with immense pride and honor to know that his kindness, his wisdom, and generosity has touched so many hearts. As he journeyed through his professional career, what stands out the most was always his desire to improve the lives of others at the grassroots level. He has been a source of goodness to many in Caroni, in Swim Call, and TCL, always putting those persons first. These moments are a testament to the incredible person he is. Each heartfelt antidote and expression of gratitude serves as a reminder of the lasting legacy he is creating. Today, as we celebrate his 70th birthday, we also celebrate the countless lives he has enriched with his presence. There are so many qualities I could talk about, but Dad, your integrity has been the cornerstone of your character and a guiding light for all of us. Throughout your life, you have consistently demonstrated honesty, fairness, and a strong moral compass. Your actions have always reflected your values, and you have never compromised on doing what is right, even when faced with difficult circumstances. Your integrity has always earned you the respect and admiration of everyone who knows you, and it has set a powerful example for us to follow. You have shown us that true success is not just about achieving goals, but about maintaining one's principles and staying true to oneself. Your legacy of integrity will continue to inspire us and guide us in our own lives. And like my dad, it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge my mom in this tribute. Mom, your unwavering support for Dad through his good times and challenges has been nothing short of extraordinary. Your love, support, and understanding has been the bedrock of our family. You have stood by his side, offering encouragement and strength, and your partnership has been a shining example of what true love and commitment looks like. Together, you have faced life trials and tribulations, and your bond has only grown stronger with each passing year. Dad, as I stand here looking at you, I'm filled with immense gratitude and admiration. On this milestone birthday, we want you to know how deeply you are loved and appreciated. Your legacy is one of love, kindness, and strength, and we are so grateful to have you as our guiding light. May the years ahead be filled with health, happiness, and the same boundless love that you have always given us. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Shans. Thank you to my, I do call my children by their names. She is big daughter. The next one is child. She's 30, but I still call her child. And my son, I call him Biggs. So it's a testament to the bonding and the togetherness that we share as a family, for which I also see as the blessings of the goodness of God in my life. This brings us to the end of the formal proceedings. I want to just say thanks to everyone for being here with us to celebrate this occasion with us. I want to say a special thank you to the staff of the Dattatreya Temple for giving me the use of this facility without question. And I really look forward to many more years and celebrating. As we reach the end of this program, I feel a sense of fulfillment. This is something that was a deep desire in me, to celebrate this birthday with the people that I love and the people that love me. And I couldn't have asked for anything more. So I thank God for His blessings in granting me this wish to celebrate this 70th birthday with everyone who has added value and meaning to my life. Thank you all very much, and we have just the arti to do, and then we'll do the closing prayer and the bhajan. Yeah. So, we'll do the arti. Yeah.
My dear sisters and brothers, we have come to almost to the end of our event this evening to celebrate Sharma's birthday. I think you will agree with me that we have had a beautiful gathering to celebrate a beautiful human being. We've had a lot of goodness to celebrate the birthday of a good man, and a lot of love expressed to celebrate someone with an inclusive and loving heart. And for that, Sharma ji, we are all grateful. We'll have Aarti, but I just wanted, before Aarti, to offer a prayer of blessing for Sharma ji and for his family. शिव हरे शिव राम सखे प्रभु त्रिविधताप निवारण हे विभो अजज्ञनेश्वर यादव पाहि मां शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् कमललोचन रामदयानिधे हर गुरु गजरक्षक गोपते शिवतनो भव शंकर पाहि मां शिव हरे शिव राम सखे प्रभु शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम्. Blessings of goodness to you, Sharma ji, and now we have our Aarti.
रघुनाथ कला की दुष्ट जलन रघुनाथ कला की आरती की जय हनुमान लला 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 गिरिवर कापे रोग दोष जाके निकट धापे अंजनी पुत्र महाबलदाई संतन के प्रभु सदा सहाय आरती की जय हनुमान लला की आरती की जय हनुमान लला की रघुनाथ पधारे लंका जाई सिया सुलाए लंका सकोत समुद्र सिखाई जात पवन सुत बार लाई लंका जाई असुर संहारे सिया राम जी के राज सवारे आरती की जय हनुमान लला की आरती की जय हनुमान लला लक्ष्मण मूर्छित परे सखारे आनित जीवन प्राण उबारे बैठी पताल तोरी जमखारे अहिरावन की बुझा उछारे बाए भुजा असुर दल मारे दाहिनी भुजा संत जन तारे आरती की जय हनुमान लला की आरती की जय हनुमान लला की सुर नर मुनि आरती उतारे प्रभु आरती उतारे सुर नर मुनि आरती उतारे जय 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 हनुमान उतारे कंचन थाल कपूर छाई आरती करत अंजना माई जो हनुमान जी आरती गावे गति गुण परम पर पावे birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Tvameva mata च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्तिः 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 सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की ओम जय श्री राम। भजले गोविंदम ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया भजले गोविंदम भजले गोविंद भजले गोविंद भजले गोविंद